Welcome, dear friends, to Cardiac Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls with one more message from the book, The Spirit of Truth. That book was published in 1961, as a tribute to the Gospel according to Spiritism. The Gospel according to Spiritism was published in 1864, but several messages in this book came along in 1861. So 100 years later, through Chico Xavier and Waldo Vieira, two mediums. This is Chico Xavier, right? I don't have Waldo Vieira here. I apologize. But we have good, wonderful spirits emissaries of on high, from Eurípides Barçanufo to Emmanuel, Meimei, Bezerra de Menezes, André Luiz, and Hilário Silva, Anália Franco, many others. We have messages that talk about life and the truth of life. How easy is it for us to deal with the truth? Many people have a hard time. We still do. The truth is beautiful, but it's very strong sometimes. So this book is an invitation for us to be courageous in facing the truth, in being courageous to develop what we need. Today, we're going to talk a topic that is so important: money and love. Meimei, the spirit, sweet, firm, determined, an educator for children in the spiritual realm that has been leading, inspiring millions of people in the incarnate plane to be more, to learn the gospel of Jesus and to learn Spiritism. Today, she comes to you and I, to us, to teach about money and love. She is inspired by item 9 of chapter 11 in the book of the Gospel according to Spiritism. The spirit Fenelon in 1861 came to talk about love. The chapter is Love One's Neighbor as Oneself. And she says, and the Fenelon says, not Meimei yet. This is the Gospel according to Spiritism. Love is the divine essence. And from the beginning to end, you possess in the depths of your soul the flame of that sacred fire. Wow. He goes on. And at the end, dear brothers and sisters, take advantage of these lessons. Their practice is difficult, but the soul will derive immense good from them. Believe me, put forth the sublime effort that I ask of you. Love one another, and you'll see earth very soon transformed and made into an Elysium, where the souls of the righteous will go to enjoy repose. The message by Fenelon is extensive in terms of the law of love. Love is a law. We need to love. Well, there's a song, right? All we need is love. All we need is love. Love. Love is all we need. And I believe we do. It's the unique nourishment for all of us. I see many people who are living dry, very dry lands. So we need to come across a solution to boost love in us. Today, Meimei, inspired by the topic on the love discoursed by Fenelon, she says, in the face of the good, do not pronounce the word impossible. Just that statement, and I'll read it again because I know you want to repeat. But she, Meimei, very practically says, in the face of the good, do not pronounce word impossible. She begins by educating us. She's an educator. Educators say, we should do this, we should do that, do this, don't do that. Giving guidance. She's giving guidance. Do not pronounce the word impossible. Do not. Why? Certainly, you suffer the difficulty of those who inherited the struggle for price of the smallest acquisitions. And yet, remember that virtue does not reside in the safe. Where would you find pure gold to make bread? In the casserole of the unfortunates? Where would you surprisingly find a fragile blanket weaved by insurance policy to cover the child during the night? However, if love makes your thoughts shine, you will snatch last leftover table from becoming filthy, converting it into the broth comfort to the forgotten sick. You will make from the simple cloth of the providential blanket in favor of a passers-by relegated to inclement weather. A throat made of pearls does not emit a small consoling phrase, and a head carved with rare stones does not let a slight thread of ideation pass. If love throbs in your soul, you can speak the renewing word that excludes the power of darkness and inspire the work that expresses the support and hope of many people. Respect the currency capable of making way to good works, but do not wait for the many to help. Today, at home, someone asks you for understanding and affection. And beyond your house, legions of people await your gestures of fraternity and understanding. Remember that the source of charity is born in yourself, and do not disbelieve the possibility of helping. To convey this truth to us, Jesus alone, without earthly bail, used the banks of a simple lake, offered sympathy to those who sought to coexist with him, comforted the sick of the road, spoke of the kingdom of God to some fishermen of simple life, and transformed the whole world, revealing to us this way that charity has the size of the heart. How many of us say, what can I do to help others? Love. But Vanessa, what do you mean? Love. Because sometimes we want to go out and give soup, food, clothes to homeless because we are running away from loving people at home. It's great to help others, but often we feel that that is a runaway from facing the reality. So he's saying money is important, but it's not going to bring the loving care that a child needs. You can pay the best babysitter, the best teacher, and yet your child may not receive love. Love is priceless. At the end of the day, if we put in modern words, she's saying love is priceless. You can't buy it, you can't order it, Let's go online and buy love, right? That would be great, but it doesn't exist. Or a pill of love. And she says at the beginning, do not say impossible. Because when we think of expanding love in our lives, we calculate the possibilities that we see. And actually, we often miscalculate because we cannot actually not believe that in each and every person there is the need of love. Fenelon, in item 9 of chapter 11 of the Gospel according to Spiritism, says that in the worst person, the worst criminal, there is the core is divine and loving. A brute, rough, in need of a lot of work. But look at us. We're not at that level. We have evolved and we have more to evolve. Did you know that we have never been this good before? No, because we always progress. So today, you are your best version. I am my best version. When people talk about suicide, we should say, today you are your best version. You may not see it completely. You may see the angle of your problems now, of your pains, but you're not limited by it. You are your best version. Let us keep hoping for even more because there is no limit. And that's the other beauty of it all. There is no limit when we talk about our evolution. Nobody has ever heard that there is a limit. Oh, we're going to evolve to be this much good or that much charitable. No, it's to a number we don't see it. Nobody has ever reported how much of this good and the happiness we're going to achieve. It's just something that will be everlasting. It's phenomenal. Spiritism is so empowering. The truth really sets us free. And she says, do not say it's impossible for you to help others. There's always a way. And remember Dr. Bezerra de Menezes in the first chapter of this book, when he wrote that with Christ, there is always a solution. Always. Of course, Christ and his team built this planet in the name of God. They know the ins and outs of everything, and they can show us the way. And all we need to do is to trust, to believe, to surrender, to have faith. Let's do an assessment question, shall we? And then we'll go back to some parts of this message by Meimei. But let's talk about how much for you do you easily see yourself helping others? Scale 0 to 10. How easy is it for you to visualize yourself helping others? 0, like not too easy, and 10 being like, for me, it's like just second nature. Where do you think you are? Think of a number, hold that number. Let's observe what it means. We need to work on it. Because some people, they put limits, conditions, saying, I help if this, if they tell me what they need. Some people need help and they don't know how to say. If doctors when treating coma patients, had to wait for them to wake up to treat them, they would never be treated. So, but Vanessa, that's a doctor, exactly. So we need to empower ourselves to another level to understand, and that's emotional intelligence, to understand what people need and then deliver what they need, to pick it up. The concept of emotional education talks about it, and that's correlated to spiritual intelligence too. Here, when she's talking about money and love, she's talking about feelings and the main nourishment of our souls, love. Money is important, but she says here, respect the currency capable of making way to good works. Of course, money comes from God. Do you guys remember when we studied the book Money by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier? If you're listening to this first time, just go to our playlist at Kardec Radio, YouTube channel, or here on Facebook or on SoundCloud and type in money. There's a playlist of the whole book that we have discussed. In that book named Money, Emmanuel through Chico Xavier tells us that money is also from God. Hooray! No more conflicts. Well, we may have conflicts like being less selfish, right? Like, oh, but I deserve it, I work so hard. But what about those that need our help too? Sharing, sharing. He says here, but do not wait for money to help people. No. Why? Because at home, she says, someone is asking for your understanding and affection. And daily, right, friends? We have family members. We need to look at them. I'm holding my phone, and they are like, mommy, or the husband, or the wife. And then we stop. Look at them in the eyes. Be fully interested. Put our hearts into that. Totally. Putting our hearts. What do you think? And beyond our homes, legions of people, she says. And she's not talking about Chico Xavier, she's saying all of us. People waiting for our gestures of fraternity and understanding. What is fraternity and understanding? It's when you work in a credit card company and your client, the client calls and is in despair and you are understanding, oh my gosh, how hard is it? They lost their card, they need help. Or you are a health provider and people call you and they want your attention, your understanding, your fraternity. Sometimes it's when you're going to pay a visit to the doctor, you enter the building and other people are coming along, and because of the pandemic, you need a certain number of people all together, and then you renounce your time to give way to other people. This is fraternity. To feel we are equal, brothers and sisters. Frater means brother, sister. It means that we are at the same level, practicing equality. Sometimes we're so prejudiced because somebody's too young or too old, too poor, too wealthy. They are too poor, we feel this way. If they are too wealthy, we feel another way. And there's always something to judge, to criticize, to be defensive about. It's not worthwhile. Fraternity is about that equality. So she says at the end, first, she says, impossible is a word we don't conjugate in relationships. And at the end, she says, charity has the size of a heart. of the heart. So today we're going to do an exercise, an affirmation that shall reprogram our minds in charity. In my heart, there is charity. Charity that makes everything possible. In my heart, and you can put your hand in your heart. In my heart, there is charity. Feel it. In my heart, there's charity. And this charity makes everything possible. In my heart, there is charity. Charity that makes everything possible. Let us feel it. Breathe in and out. And repeat. In my heart, there is charity. And charity makes everything possible. And visualize from your heart illumination radiating to the relationships you have. Friends, let us rejoice because today Meimei delivered a message of the truth. That charity has the size of the heart, and there's nothing that is impossible for God. What a message! Let us be deeply grateful for this message, for the concession of on high, allowing us to receive one more quantum of truth while we're still on earth. Thank you, friends.